Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, Irini Mazisu, Pax Obiscum, peace be unto you. Welcome back to 2 Kings chapter 5. In this chapter, there are 27 verses. Beginning in verse 1, we see the term highly respected being used about Naaman or Naaman. In the Masoretic, it is honorable. And it talks about how the man, Naaman, was mighty in strength versus mighty in valor. So valor is bravery, not simply bravery, but actual strength. In verse 2, I make a reflection here to say that Naaman is a Syrian, which is recognized as an enemy of Israel. Yet he is still considered highly respected and received favor from Hashem. You can see that throughout this chapter he received favor and that he had been given deliverance to Syria, it says. And even his Israeli maid. Okay, he has an Israeli maid, and you can see the way he treated her. I would assume, just my speculation, that he respected his Israeli maid. And that led her, or maybe not, maybe she's just really nice. Just from birth, she's just instinctively nice, but whether she's nice by default or not, she respected him. So he seemed to be a man who treated others well. We can see that here. It says Hashem had given deliverance to Assyria, or to Syria, not Assyria. Okay, we're going to move ahead to verse 5. There's an omission here. It says, to Naaman. So the king didn't just say out loud to anyone. He spoke to Naaman specifically. And the footnote for this verse in regards to raiment is changing robes. So not so much just any clothing, it's a specific kind of clothing, which is a robe. And speaking of clothing, this is a new talit I just received from the land of Israel. And it's a Yemeni style talit, and it's actually black. The stripes are black. But the tzitzit are tied in the Yemeni style. Rambam 7. We've got 7 knots. And it's blue thread. Tachilot or tachelet. I think it's tachelet. The blue that was specified in the Torah. Okay, so that's all for that part. Raiment, robes. So verse 7. It says, seeks an occasion against me. So the king of Israel rent his garments, said, consider, I pray you, and see that this man seeks an occasion against me, versus seeks a quarrel against me. So this, in the Hebrew, quarrel against me means to meet, or a quarrel specifically means to meet, can mean to encounter, or an opportunity, or to cause oneself to meet. Okay, so that's verse 7. Verse 11. It says, I said, behold, I said, versus I thought. But to be fair to the Masoretic, it says, and said, behold, I thought. So he's still verbally expressing this, but in the Septuagint, he's saying, Naaman said, behold, I said. Maybe he's speaking in his heart. It's hard, maybe that's the case, just to make sense of it. Or he's just speaking out loud, simply. And there's an addition of Hashem, or the name, on the name of. In the Septuagint, it just says on the name of his Elohim. Okay, it's verse 11. And then it says, lay his hand, and lay his hand versus strike his hand. So one is, like a blessing or praying over. The other one is striking, so violent. That's actually, I would put a significant difference for that. That isn't the same. One is peaceful, one is violent, not peaceful. Okay, verse 12. Geography matters. Uh, why do I say that? It says the land of Israel. So he's saying, isn't that the Abana and Pharpar rivers of Damascus better than all the waters of Israel? Well, in this context, no, because he was told to go to the Jordan River and wash. So specifically, the Jordan River is selected, it is set apart, it's blessed in this chapter anyway. I'm not sure if that's just all across the board. Jordan River is better than all the other rivers and all the other waters in the planet. I believe Yeshua HaMashiach Adonai was also baptized by the immerser Yochanan, by John the Baptist, in the Jordan River, if not mistaken, as well. So that place is very, very special. So geography matters. So that's not a difference, just a thought. So it's verse 12, verse 13, an addition of my father. So not just father, but my father. Actually, just says nothing. It says, and said my father, the prophet. So that's not even included. My father was added. Verse 15. Gonna skip that. Verse 17. Well then, if not, let there be given to thy servant. Okay. Verses, shall there not then? So the difference is in the Septuagint. Well, all right then. If this is the way it's going to be, then such and such. I pray you the load of a yoke of mules, you shall give me of the red earth. So if it's going to be this way, then it's going to be this way. Versus the Masoretic, the way I interpret this is, well, at the very least, or at least do this. Shall there not then, I pray thee, right? Shall there not then, can we at least compromise? Can we negotiate here? And then it says a load of a yoke of mules. So how many mules is that? A yoke of mules. Let me look that up. Okay, so a yoke of mules is a pair of mules, so that's two. In the Masoretic, it says two, so just a difference of semantics. And you shall give me of the red earth versus 2 mules, and then it says burden of earth. So not a red earth, but a burden. There's an omission. It says by reason of this thing, and the rationale is given in the Septuagint. And the footnote of the physical Septuagint says the last clause, where it says by reason of this thing, could probably belong to verse 18 instead. Whether it's at the beginning or the end of the verse, I'm not sure. But it's all in the, when you read it in the original, there's no verses, so it's just all part of the same narrative. And verse 18 now. Okay, let me pause. Okay, I did confirm. Verse 18 has a typo in the Q Bible. The word I is not included. It's not in the original hard copy, so it just says, and let Hashem be propitious. And propitious in the Septuagint versus pardon. And there's a big difference, another big difference. The second one in this book, I believe, it says, when he bows down. When my master goes into the house, and then it says, when he bows down versus when I bow down. So you can see that difference. When I bow down, no, it's when he bows down, not when I bow down. And there's an omission of even let Hashem, I pray, be merciful. So even let, I pray. So you can see the change of the manner of speaking of Naaman compared to earlier, where his tone was more like he had a chip on his shoulder. That's the way I read his verbal statements, a little bit of a chip on his shoulders, just put it that way. So even let Hashem, I pray, be merciful to thy servant in this matter versus Hashem, pardon thy servant this thing. It's just like, much less formal, not as polite, not as careful, but here you can see he's really cautious. Like, even just, if this could be done, even let Hashem, I pray, be merciful to thy servant in this matter. So you can see he's a lot more humble versus, oh, Hashem, pardon thy servant this thing. I'm not saying he's saying it without respect, but even the words themselves, Hashem, pardon thy servant this thing. It's not as reverential. I'll put it that way. And it says, be merciful versus pardon. Yeah. Verse 20, I have a question. Maybe you can answer this. Why was Naaman spared so as not to take of him what he brought? Because it says here, behold, my Adon has spared this Syrian Naaman. In what way? So as not to take of his hand what he has brought. So is this sparing because now he can use what he has brought? But isn't more blessed to give to Hashem and be blessed as a result? I don't know. Maybe that's the way I would answer it, is that no, he can use it for himself now. He has more resources to himself. But then we see Gehazi in his heart, he's saying, I'm going to run after him and take something of him. So he's using this opportunity to gain for himself. He's not a giver, or he's not a giver, he's a taker. Or Naaman is a giver in this instance. So that's 21 now. It says turn back from his chariot versus lighted down. The footnote regarding the addition of all is well, okay, that's actually in the Alexandrian, apparently, according to the footnote. Verse 23, an addition of be content. So it says, be content. Be content, be happy, be satisfied with this. No, he didn't have to say that. Just gave him, take 2 talents of silver, here, take it. Verse 23, and he urged him. That's an addition, and he urged him. No, he didn't have to urge him either. He took it. He just took it without asking twice. Verse 24, secret place versus tower. Interestingly enough, the footnote on the physical Septuagint, the Greek rendering of this word secret place is literally, well, maybe not literally, but it means more specifically a dark place. So it's a dark place. Maybe shaded, maybe in a cave, I don't know. But a place that's not openly visible in any case. In addition, it says, and they departed. So that was added. Not a big addition. I could probably ignore that. Verse 26, the last verse we're going to look at, it says, there's an omission of, in regards to my heart. Went not my heart with thee? Okay, verses, it says, and now thou hast received silver. So he did take money. Versus, is it a time to receive money? So let's read it in both. Let's read the Masoretic first. He said to him, to Gehazi, went not mine heart with thee, when the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee? The man is Naaman. Is it a time to receive money, and to receive garments, and olive yards, and vineyards, and sheep, and oxen, and menservants, and maidservants? Is it a time to be idolatrous? Is it a time to be materialistic? To take this opportunity to take what is Naaman's and doesn't belong to you? Essentially, it's the way I see it. And then the Septuagint, he says to Gehazi, where do you come from, Gehazi? right? And he says, "Thy servant has not been here or there." And Elisha said to him, "Went not my heart with thee when the man returned from his chariot to meet thee? And now thou hast received silver, so my heart was with you. But now you've done this, you've received silver. Clearly, I can see it. You have received raiment, yes, and olive yards and vineyards and sheep. And okay, he took olive yards and vineyards. He took property and sheep and oxen and men servants and maid servants. So he took all these things. And what happened as a result? Well, there's consequence for that. The leprosy of Naaman will join you now into your descendants forever. So that's quite a penalty to pay for his materialism and not perceiving the appropriateness or the impropriety of doing such an action in this specific timing for that reason and so forth. Okay, so that's all for this chapter. Thank you very much for your time. Till next time, I bid you all Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, Irini Mazisu, Pax Vobiscum, peace be unto you, and Maranatha.